What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. All right, y'all. So presently it is July 5th, 2024. It's about 10:51 a.m. Yes, I am off from work today. So having a little 4-day vacation. Well, that could change depending on if my job actually wants me to come in on the weekend. But we'll see what happens with that. But other than that, I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. My 4th of July was awesome. I didn't plan on seeing my family, yesterday as I record this, but as an impromptu thing, a small brunch in the middle of the day, it was great. Had great food, great conversations, looking at pictures from old photo albums. So that always takes me back. And with my extensive memory and just, missing those days, it was good to do that. And then later, me and my lady, we did a few things, with her kids and all of that. And basically it was great. And when I said did a few things, we went to see the fireworks, which was something that I haven't done in nearly 30 years, y'all, if you could believe that. So overall, the 4th of July was great. And I hope you all had a great 4th of July as well. So now we got to get back to these YouTube streets now, don't we? Okay, so today's video is going to be a reaction video. This is going to be courtesy of Reva TV. So shout out to her. Make sure y'all go follow her if you haven't done so already. Now, initially, I wasn't going to talk about the Tia Mowry and Cory Hardrict thing, but after seeing Reva's video, I was like, yeah, I got to speak on this one. So I'll start by saying this. Within the last year or so, I know that this was talked about. A lot of content creators talked about it mainly because of how Tia Mowry was acting. So my thoughts then were, I didn't really know too much about their relationship slash marriage at the time, but it wasn't until I started, being on YouTube more and seeing videos about them that I was actually seeing what was happening, even though it was more so one-sided in terms of the coverage, if you will. So my thing was, okay, it all started with that video that went viral, her talking about she was graduating from marriage and basically seemed so happy that she was about to start this new journey in her life. And the question that I asked then, and the question that I still ask today is, what the hell does it mean to graduate from marriage? I mean, can somebody explain that to me? I mean, how do you graduate from marriage? And how could you even put the word graduate into this? I mean, look, relationships fail, okay? Marriages sometimes end up, in a divorce. I know that from experience. Okay, no situation is ever going to be perfect. And I mean, by all means, if you're in a situation that you're not feeling for whatever reason, definitely look, here's the key point. If you've exhausted everything that you could, and I mean, therapy, conversations, everything under the sun, if you've exhausted everything and there's nothing else that can be done, and divorce was the only option, okay, I understand that. I do understand that. You definitely don't want to be in a situation that's making you unhappy or making you miserable. With all due respect, it doesn't matter whether you got kids or not. Now, of course, if you have a child or children, you want to do what's best for them, to make sure that they're still taken care of, even if the parents are going through their issues, because at the end of the day, the kids don't ask to be here. But at the same time, if you're in a situation like that, and especially if the situation is toxic, you definitely don't want to be a part of that. And you definitely don't want to have a child or children in that space. You definitely don't want that. So on one end, I get it. Okay, nobody should stay in a situation that they're uncomfortable in or anything to that effect. However, another issue that I had in addition to her talking about graduating from marriage is how public she was with it. I mean, doing all these videos, now let's keep it real. Miss Mowry, she looks good. Her sister look good, and I'm speaking as a man here, and I think all of us men, we can definitely look at her and say she's easy on the eye. Both of them, they've always been beautiful sisters. They've always been, even dating back to sister, they've always looked good. So that's no issue here. The issue is not how she looks, it's just how public she made everything, going on this podcast, going on that podcast, and then making videos here, making videos there, pretty much talking about how the single life sucks, and where are all the good men, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then you have to look back in reality and be like, okay, man, you pretty much had something that every self-respecting woman wants. You have a good career, you have a good husband, based on what we know. I don't have any reason to doubt that Mr. Hardrict wasn't a good husband. You have kids, assuming you live in a nice area. So you had everything. So why chuck that away pretty much over nothing, Because a few people said that she, ended her marriage to become an Instagram model. Okay, well, kind of seems like it. Part of me doesn't even want to go that far, but it's like you ended your marriage for nothing pretty much. And then, almost a year after the fact, it still seems like that. Now Cory Hardrict, even though he spoke on it, and I am gonna make some comments about that when we get into Reva's video, um, he responded to it any, the same way that most people will respond to in a situation like this. I mean, it affected him. I mean, he was married to her and they got kids. So naturally, there's going to be an emotional response. But as my mom would always say, it's all in how you bounce back and get back up from it. And, he still got a lot going on for himself. I think he said he has a movie coming out or something like that, or at least that's what I heard, and Megan Good is supposed to be in it. So big things are happening for him. So I get that. Now the important thing here is that if they're not going to get back together, and there's nothing out there to suggest that they should rekindle what they had, as long as they co-parent well, he does his thing and she does her thing, I'm fine with that, But again, things just don't have to be so public, And Tia Mowry, she was the worst with that. Y'all seen the videos. I know y'all have, So it's just crazy. It's almost like, are we entering into a like a culture that celebrates divorce more than marriage? I hope we're not headed there, and not trying to make this into a color issue, but you notice that other races of people don't really have these problems, and if they do have these problems, they're not so public. Whereas with us, and I'm talking about us, the Black community, it seems like it's always us that's on the front lines of this, which doesn't help anything, But that's neither here nor there, y'all. So I just wanted to preface all this by saying all of that before we finally get into Reva's video, which was a good video in a series of them, So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared, and we're going to take a look at this. Fair usage for the video, fair usage. And again, shout out to Reva TV. She does good work. And like I said, follow her if you haven't done so already. So let's go ahead and get into this one.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm in my hoe phase right now.
Oh,
So this whole thing is kind of interesting. Okay, so recently, we all know that Tia is the TikTok queen. Okay, she's gonna be dancing, doing the moves. She's doing all these different things. Something that obviously she loves to do. All over social media, repetitively, constantly, day in, day out. Whether it is talking about or exuding how happy she is after her divorce, whether it's talking about what the streets is like, or what dating is like, whether it's proving that she still got it, whatever the case is. We already know that she's always on social media, and more power to her, right? That's something that she likes to do. Cool, awesome. What I found was very interesting is that when she released this video of she's in her whole phase.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm in my hoe phase right now. Happiness over everything.
Okay, now let me stop it right there. Okay, now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, HOE, okay, with or without the acronym part, everyone knows what that word is associated with, right? So I don't know why her or anybody else would use such a thing and try to turn it into a flex or something that should be celebrated. When at the end of the day, it's not something that should be celebrated. It's not something that should be glorified, you know. And why any self-respecting woman of any race, age, etc., would even say they're in their whole phase and brag about it is beyond me. And let me tell you something. Tia can say what she wants, obviously. You know, nobody is saying that. But I mean, couldn't you have said something else? I mean, what, Tia's time? The Tia era has begun. I mean, something, you know. Tia's time sounds more catchy, but happiness over everything. Okay, why not, you know, okay, why not just say you know, it's time for Tia's happiness or something. Anything other than the whole acronym. You get what I'm saying? Like, why would you put that out there? And again, you making it public, it's gonna go viral. You know, people are gonna talk about it. You know, HOE, you know what that signifies. You know what that looks like. You know what that sounds like. So why celebrate that and brag on it like it's such an accomplishment? It's not. You know, let's keep it moving, y'all.
Where's your mind?
I thought it was very interesting because it came right on the tail of what Cory was talking about when he talked about how the divorce was and how he had been crying every night and all of that. You know, it literally was like almost like a, I don't know if it was pre-recorded or what, but it was almost like a response to what Cory had to say within that video.
You know, it's tough when it feels like you're going through something alone and no one understands, and you know, no one's there for you, and it's just like, you know, when you're a man, especially a black man, they're like, oh, you know, he's tough, he's strong. But you know, but you know, it was a year and a half crying myself to sleep every night. You know, nobody see that. Yeah. Nobody see that. Yeah. You know, like, you know, you live 5 minutes away from your babies, you know what I'm saying? Because people who know Cory Hardrict know that his kids and his family was everything to him.
Okay, let me pause it right there. Now, initially, he got credit for not speaking out because, you know, what I'm sure he didn't want was, you know, the situation to become even more public. So they're no longer married or whatever. So you didn't want them going back and forth in public. You know, you didn't want a situation similar to what Keke Palmer had with the guy that she was dealing with. You know, now thankfully Keke Palmer has been quiet, but definitely if she goes viral again for something, yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about it on this channel. But let's move on. So, you know, so he did the right thing at the time by just not saying anything. Now, the fact that this clip came, I don't know how I feel about it. You know, one part of me is like, okay, you should have kept quiet. But then another part of me was like, okay, at a certain point, you had to say something. And his response pretty much, you know, is a legit, genuine response, I think, you know, and I can sympathize with him because I went through a separation which led to a divorce. And those months were the hardest months of my life. You know, anybody who was around me at that time would tell you about that, you know. And you know, and that was the first time that I ever went through something like that. Now, granted, it hasn't discouraged me from getting married again, but let's just say that I learned a lot from that situation, and I would rather have went through that then as opposed to going through that now. Now I'm 40. I ain't in my mid-20s no more. It's a different ball game, you know, coming from a man's perspective, but I definitely understand where he's coming from because, you know, that mess hurt, you know, and nobody can just look at a man and say, oh, you ain't supposed to have no emotions or whatever. You know, I cried. I cried when I was going through that, probably more than most people would know. And I think the only person who probably know more about that struggle at the time, more so than anybody else, is my mom, you know, because I was with her at that time, you know, but I don't want to make this all about me. So the point is that I can sympathize with him and understand what he was going through after the fact, you know. So I guess as I said this more, I guess I got no issue with him speaking out about it. Now the question is what's going to happen from here? You know, should he make more videos about it? You know, I would say no. You know, he don't need to go on any additional podcasts and repeat the same thing. This video is enough. You know, just focus on your kids, focus on yourself, focus on your projects, what you got going on, and just go from there. You don't need to keep speaking on this. You know, if Miss Mowry want to do her thing, let her. You know, I mean, you're not gonna tell a woman of this type, what she can and can't do. If she want to live her life that way, that's her, But let's not forget about that karma aspect. What you're looking for, you may end up getting it, and it may not be what you want or what you think. So let's keep it moving, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm stronger than I thought I was. Yes. I'm really stronger. And that by the grace of God, by the grace of God, it's like I'm here.
And look, I sympathize with that as well. And y'all know that saying, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. I believe that.
Still going.
Kind of like, purposely just going for the jugular after that moment. And, if you post a video, no matter if you say, oh, happiness over everything, or you try to change the acronyms of the actual word, what it is going to be exemplifying when you say that you are in your whole phase, right? Nobody is asleep. Nobody is unaware of that. You're very aware of the backlash or the criticism or the way that it's going to catch people's attention, even just for the beginning of the video. And
exactly,
my personal opinion, okay, I'm just going to give you guys my personal opinion on the situation. I just think that there is always a vast difference between the way that Cory has responded to this entire breakup and divorce and the way in which Tia has responded and dealt with the entire situation.
Headed to Jamaica. Is this solo mom vacay or with the kids? With solo mom, with my girlfriends. My birthday's in July, so this is a birthday trip. And what do they say? Stella got a groove back? It's like Tia got a groove back.
Take care of these babies.
I love that.
And I got to do God's mission.
I love
That's
that.
it.
Now, granted, they are different people. They have different, emotions. They might deal with things differently as a whole. Maybe that's why the relationship, altogether didn't necessarily work out, because of how vastly different they deal with certain situations. That could be a strong possibility. But I just think that there's a point where you realize that you are still constantly trying to hurt this person, even though you say that you're so happy and so evolved and that you graduated from the entire situation.
Marriage was a success. Yeah. I look at it as like a curriculum. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation.
Now, see, that's that video that I was talking about earlier. That's when she made that comment about graduating from marriage and, just laughing out loud and just being, real happy with it, for the lack of a better word. That was that clip I was talking about.
Most women, after they deal with a breakup or a divorce or the ending of a relationship, I always find that a lot of women go to the hands of social media because they will have a lot of people who are in the comment sections who are yes men, right? I'm not saying necessarily that this is exactly what she is doing, but I'm just saying overall, I've seen people in regular life. They go through a breakup or divorce and they run to social media. They run looking for that validation.
And let me stop it right here for a bit. Now, that's what you shouldn't do, men and women. When you having any type of hardship or issues, whatever the case may be, whether you're in a relationship, you're engaged, or you're married, never take your problems to social media. That's the last place you should take your problems. Do not put your problems out there for the world to see. You don't need this type of validation. If anything, if you need some validation, get that in a non-public space. Do not put your issues on social media. Just don't do it, because it's not going to help anything. Okay, it may help in the short term, but in the long term, all you're doing is just making your business public. You making people choose sides, and then if somebody says something you don't like, then it's going to be another issue. But when you make your things public, people are going to talk about it, especially if you're a celebrity, But at this point in 2024, everyone should know this. I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, this was the case going back to the MySpace days. If you put your stuff out there for the world to see, people are going to talk about it. I mean, that should be a no-brainer here. I mean, come on.
They're still, quote unquote, that girl, right? They want the likes, they want the hard eyes, they want the people sliding back in their DMs. They make it extremely clear how single they are. They want.
Okay, now let me stop it one more time. I apologize. Now, you notice that men don't move this way. Normally, if we go through issues like that in a relationship, we don't run to social media. We don't put our business out there. You know, number one, we're not seeking validation. And number two, we like to keep what's going on in our four walls inside those four walls. We don't go to those extreme lengths. We just don't do that. And women, you know, they're a different breed. They're going to do that. And yes, it is an attention factor. I would be the first to agree with that. But you notice that women do that mostly, but men, we don't do that. You know, it's a true difference here.
Want to show everybody like, yeah, I'm back out here. I'm back for the streets. Like they purposely put themselves on that display because they want some kind of, again, validation coming from social media.
These are my ladies.
Girl, nasty, I've been a nasty girl. Now,
See, okay, look, she looked good. Okay, this is the man part of me speaking. Well, I'm 100% man, but y'all get what I'm saying. She looked good. Her sister looked good. So I mean, that's not the issue here. It really isn't.
I want to say this. I said this in all of my other conversations. I'm going to say it in this one as well. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that people have to stay in relationships when they do not want to. Again, I think that if you stay in a relationship and you are miserable and you no longer respect your partner, you no longer are treating them the way that they deserve to be treated just because you want to bow out and go back to the streets or dismiss yourself from the relationship, I do not think that it makes sense to be in that relationship and make the other person's life miserable. I don't think that makes no sense. However, again, I constantly see that a lot of these women who are constantly chasing that outside validation, in my personal opinion, it exudes a lot of the reasons why the relationship did not work because maybe you were always looking to the outside. Maybe, just maybe, there were a lot of comparisons of what you were doing. Well, my relationship looks like this and I want it to look like this, or my relationship looks like that and I want it to look like that. There are a lot of women right now who are in relationships that are beautiful, that are flourishing, that are growing at a beautiful pace, that are in it for the long haul, and they are on the brink of ruining it, or they have ruined it just by looking at other people's lives and what other people have going on.
And that is a very, very good point, and I agree with her 100%. And see, this is another key thing when you're talking about the differences between men and women. Now, you heard what she just said about how women will have something good going on, but because of what they're seeing on social media or because of what they're seeing on TV, they would end what they got going on at the drop of a dime just to pursue that. And then when they don't get the desired results, then that's when it becomes a problem. It's everybody else's fault but the woman, you know. And don't even get me started on what the man role is, you know. Then it becomes the whole talk about where there's no more good men in the world, or where are the good men, or they get to this point where they, you know, have all these boundaries up and have all these expectations and, you know, all these qualifications that have to be met. Whereas on the flip side with men, okay, if we see another black man with a black woman and they doing it, okay, men, we look at it like, okay, you know, I would love to have something like that, or I would strive to get there, or I would like to do what it takes to get there. We're not ending, you know, if we're in something that's stable and secure and going places, we're not going to end that to go chase after it, you know. And then when we get the desired results, then we be somewhere looking at it like, okay, you know, doing the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I should have stayed where I was. I should have did this. I should have did that. I would have made this decision had I not reacted to what I was seeing in front of me. You see what I'm saying? I know my fellas listening to this can, you know, testify that, you know, yeah, we might see a couple married or not, you know, well, let's, in this case, let's say married, you know, couple married with or without kids. They got the nice house, you know, the cars, the clothes, you know, they doing it up. They living the life, or living the best life, as they say. Fellas, we're going to see that and like, damn, you know, we're not going to hate on it. You know, it just makes us more, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes us more inspired to go after it, as opposed to making a snap decision, ending what we got just to go chase it. You see what I'm saying? And that's another key difference here between men and women. Women will in a relationship in a heartbeat just to do something like that. Whereas with men, we're more strategic and logical and calculated. You know, I guess you could say, I repeated this in another video. Women are more emotional, impulsive, intuitive. You know, men, we're strategic, we're more logical, and we're more calculated. You know, with our decision making. You know, and that's not to knock women. Sometimes those things are assets, but in most cases they're not. You know, so just some real intricate differences here. And again, shout out to Reba for making that point, because it was a damn good point regarding what women would do when they see certain things on the internet and on TV.
They're looking at what so and so's husband does for him. Oh, well, how come you don't do what Russell did? I want you to be like Russell. There's a lot of women who are doing these things, and I want also people to take note and keep in mind that, of course, celebrities are on big display, right? Tia Mowry is on big display. She's from Sis to Sister. Okay, when your life is on full display like that, there are people who are watching you. There are people who admire you. There are people who watch what Tia has going on and are doing the same thing in their life. There are people who saw Tia and Cory get divorced, and it looked like Tia was having so much fun out here on social media that they decided that they're going to leave their husband too.
DMs that I have gotten from so many women that are going through the same thing and just saying how they admire my courage and my strength.
Just think of the weight of that. That's how serious it is. Oh, you know, I'm so happy you left. You brave. You know, you so strong. Oh, you gave me the strength to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And when you get to the nitty gritty of that person's situation, wasn't nothing wrong in the relationship.
Right. See, Reba is on point here, man. And again, there's nothing brave about what Tia did. There's nothing strong about what Tia did. You know, what she did was highly questionable. I'll say that, because I guarantee you, even though the majority of us don't know what happened in their household, I guarantee you that they did not exhaust every single option to keep that marriage going. I guarantee you they didn't. She probably was the one who came to some sort of conclusion, probably one of them things where, she needed space. She wanted to do this. She wanted to do that. She wanted to have her time, her fun, and she even said in that aforementioned video, this is about her happiness. Everything was her. Y'all saw it.
The woman was the problem. The man was still there, willing to stay, willing to keep the family unit together.
Right.
But she just, missed the streets, or she just missed being able to have no responsibility until she realized that her marriage wasn't the problem. Her family unit was the problem. It was her not being able to compartmentalize that became the problem. And then a lot of these women, when they're single for a long time, they realize, oh, wait, it was me. Nobody told me that I couldn't put myself first in certain aspects. Nobody told me that I couldn't go to the gym. Nobody told me that I had to, sit up under everybody and watch them every 5 seconds and micromanage my household. Nobody told me I had to do those things. I was just doing it. Also, my husband wasn't the problem. Also, my children and my family structure wasn't the issue. I see it happen over and over and over again. A lot of women leave their marriages and they make it seem like they're having so much fun. They make it seem like they're having a blast.
Right.
And then as time goes on, you see that if 100% of the women look like they're having a blast, you realize that maybe only 20% of them are truly having that blast. And 80% of them are strongly trying to fill that spot where their husband was.
So what do you do for work? Do you like it? Do you like it?
Because they want the companionship.
Girl.
Then they find that they're trying to replace what they already had. I want a man who's going to love my kids like they're his. I want a man who's going to be there and support us. I want a man who is going to accept me and try to work through things and not run when the going gets tough. When they check that checklist, it's everything their husband was.
No, at least I know Tia got my back, to the grave. So I know she's with me and she knows I'm with her.
I purposely talk about these topics, whether it's, Sierra Russell, Tia Mowry, Jeannie, and Jeezy. I purposely talk about things because, again, yes, I'm using these people who are in the spotlight for an example, but there are, again, people in real life who are mirroring their life off of these intricate details that they're seeing from people on social media who are superstars, and they're trying to follow the lead because, oh, it looks like she's having the time of her life, so I'm going to do that same thing. Only to find out that all the hurt has not been revealed. The exact and very reason has not been revealed. What is the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back for her may not be it for you. But real families outside of just this couple are being affected based off of this couple breaking up. I want you guys to get my drift. When I have these conversations, again, it's not personal. It's not personal against somebody like Tia and Cory, against personal Jeannie or whoever the case is, whoever all the other people I talk about. It's not personal against each of these people. I'm using the scenario to talk about deeper rooted issues with other people.
Right. Good point.
I hope you guys are catching my drift.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Back to what she said about her being in her whole phase and then happiness over everything, where your mind at, whatever the case is. What I think a lot of women don't realize is that other men watch from afar, especially when you're in the public eye. They are watching you in the way that you are maneuvering after certain relationships fail. Okay, they are watching from afar. This is the people that you might want to pursue you. You might actually want to be in a relationship. Maybe men who have always been attracted to you and want to go ahead and take you out on that date. Like, there are a lot of men who are in position who are watching these things. And a lot of women don't understand that the way that you treat the man who you were with prior is very telling for other men. There are men who will not pursue you just off of how you acted when you ended the relationship with that last man. Because they're like,
Hello.
oh no, she's not going to disrespect me on social media.
See, that's another man. Shout out to Reba. She is on point in this video, man. Because again, I've said in other videos, men, we're visual, yes, but we're visual electronically too, which means that all these females, and I'm talking about, everyone from the celebrities to the females that we see on these podcasts, to the ones that we see on the Kendra G show, to the ones that we see on the Pop the Balloon show, to the ones that we see on Ashley Dalton's show, and everything else in between. We're seeing this, we may not be, okay, well, some brothers may be taking notes, like literally taking notes, but others are making mental notes as well. Now me, I'm out of that loop because I'm in a relationship, and it's progressing along just fine, but that's not the subject here. Men, we are seeing this and we're responding and reacting accordingly. And as soon as the women figure it out, and there's no signs that says that they will figure it out anytime soon, then we will see a consistent shift regarding the dynamics between Black men and Black women in terms of relationships, serious relationships, long-term relationships, engagements, and marriages, and so on and so forth. I'm telling you, that's what it is. And that's why I said men, we're more, yes, we're visual, but we're strategic in our thinking because we're seeing this. We see it every single day. And there are content creators who talk about it. I talk about it. Come on, man. That's just the way that it is right now. We're seeing this and we're responding and reacting accordingly.
Oh no, she's not going to be throwing subliminals to me on social media.
Right.
Oh, she's not going to portray and act like, I'm not that guy just because the relationship didn't work out and try to humiliate me every chance she gets. That's not going to work for me. There are men, okay, maybe if that relationship didn't work, whatever the case is, you didn't want to keep your family together, it reached its mark, cool. But if you're wanting to have different results in the future, you would want a lot of them like, oh, well, I just want to be myself. I just want to be fully me. And whoever gonna be with me is gonna have to accept me for me, but they don't know you yet.
Right. That takes time.
They know the image that you're portraying.
That's right.
They know the quote unquote jokes you're telling on social media. They know the subliminals. They know all the campaigns you're going on. That's what they see.
It got worse,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's about to get worse off.
I saw a lot of people in my comment section in my Instagram DMs, and they were Tia Mowry fans, and they were going off. Okay, they were telling me, oh well, you don't know why they got divorced. They got divorced because he was trying to take her money, and they got divorced because he wasn't working and she was the breadwinner and stuff like that. There was so many people saying so many different things. There was people who even had some court documents and were talking about, well, this is what she said. She wanted her flight miles in the divorce. I have to tell you this. Again, I'm going to say a lot of women will be in relationships with men and they don't understand the true magnitude or the true value of those men until the relationship is over. Once the relationship is over and they go out and they date other men, they realize how good they had it. Not saying that there's not good men out there, not saying that there's not other men who might see you in a different way and you in a different way and you possibly have a better connection. I'm not saying that. However, most of the time when these women are in relationships or marriages for years, what this man was willing to deal with you with, what this man was willing to put up with the trials and tribulations or the attitude problems or whatever it is that you had going on, that this man was willing to work through the thick of it with you. These other men don't know you like that. They don't have no family with you. They don't have no dog in the fight. They might see one thing you do and say, oh no, I'm headed for the hills. I can't do it. They don't have that same level of investment. A lot of women trade the level of investment because of a rough patch or because temporary feelings that are fleeting because of, again, what other people have going on.
Yep. And let me say this before she wraps up her video. So now I'm speaking from experience with this one. And fellas, y'all can let me know if y'all experience the same thing. Now, women, okay, I'm in a relationship. I was married before. After my first marriage, I got into another long-term marriage. Okay, things didn't work for whatever reason. Okay, I got no shade to throw at anybody from my past. Okay, that's not what this is about. But what I've also learned within recent years is that women, depending on who you're dealing with, it's the 3 F's: flaky, fickle, and fragile. And I definitely experienced that towards the end of my last relationship. Now, naturally, when you're dealing with somebody that's, acting like that, and, even in a situation where the person is telling you they can be fragile, or they can be, fickle, because one day is this, the next day is the next thing, or something else, flaky, fickle, and fragile. With all due respect, no man and really no woman in reverse. But speaking on behalf of the fellas here, no man wants to deal with that, Now, I will say, well, no, I'm not going to go into too much of my personal business, but the fact is that flaky, fickle, and fragile, those are red flags right there. Now, you're definitely not going to get that at the beginning of a relationship, but when you get those hints or when you get that, especially when the woman is telling you she can be fickle or she can be fragile, I mean, you're unfortunately in a situation where your relationship can end at any moment. You just never know when it's going to come. The next thing you know, you're having to deal with anxiety. See, I'm going into a lot of my sugar honey iced tea, but but I digress. But that's the point. Fickle, flaky, and fragile. That right there. Those are, I wouldn't say that they're recipes for disaster, but just know that no man is going to want to deal with that. Simply put.
I know.
And I may need to do a separate video on that. Y'all let me know what you think.
A lot of women may not agree with me on this, but I'm going to keep it real. A man not being the breadwinner in a relationship is not the end all be all for everybody. I'm just going to be honest. Now Cory got all kind of jobs.
Yep.
He got a new movie. I think he on a a show coming. Like, he got all kind of stuff going on. There's times where
doing it
somebody holds more of the weight, especially if you're two people that are working. There's times that maybe and it could depend on career, right? There might be a
right.
career where a woman is able to make way more money or way more finances than her counterpart. Doesn't mean that he's also not working. Doesn't mean that he's also not pulling his weight to the best of his ability.
That's
I
right.
saw a meme on social media where it said the woman had I think it was $200 and the man had $80, and the bill for them eating was $100, and they asked who's supposed to pay that bill. You want to see the list of women in the comment? Oh, it better been him. Oh, well, why did he take me here if he couldn't afford me? There was no context. You don't know if that's her husband. You don't know if he just lost his. You don't have no idea what the situation is. But at the end of the day, it's a partnership between the two of you. I always thought that it goes that whoever has money is y'all's money. So if you making 200 and he making 80, y'all have 280. But what I realize is that with a lot of women, there's not a lot of togetherness in relationships. There's a lot of, I'm in a relationship with you, but I'm still kind of against you. I'm in a relationship with you, but my stuff is my stuff and don't touch my stuff.
And you also have that dynamic, you know, my money is my money, your money is my money. It ain't no R in this, it ain't no we or anything like that. You know, unique dynamics, but dynamics that'll cause some damn problems.
I don't see a lot of morphing, a lot of unison, a lot of oneness. I don't see it. Oh yeah, that's my husband. But you know, if it wasn't for my husband, I wouldn't even talk to men, because I can't stand men. Men are beneath women. But I'm married. Right. There's a lot of that.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. So again, man, shout out to Reva for that video. That was a good video. So overall, here's my thing. If I had to make a prediction here, I think Miss Tia Mowry is probably going to be single for a long time. You know, now she could always find love somewhere. You know, I don't know where and how and when she's going to find it when you consider how dating is today and how dating has been for the last couple of years. But my guess with her, prediction rather, she's going to be single for a long time. Cory Hardrict, I think what he's going to do is he's probably not going to get into anything serious for quite some time. He's going to focus on him. He's going to focus on his kids. He's going to continue to, you know, get that bag, as they say. You know, he's going to do his movies, you know, sitcoms and all that stuff. He's going to be out there. I don't think he's going to continue to be as public because, like I said during the video, he don't need to go on this podcast and that podcast and talk about his situation. He said what he had to say during that little interview. He made it public. That's it. He don't need to say no more. You know, he don't need to do all of that. He can have a social media presence, but he can focus on what's beneficial to him, you know, in this regard. He don't need to talk about Tia Mowry in every video. Now, if he continues to go public and they ask about it, really the only thing that he need to pretty much say is that him and Tia, they're co-parenting, their relationship regarding their kids is fine. That's it. You know, no more talk, as Willie D would say. You don't need to go into anything else. That's it. You know, she doing her, let her do her, you know, in and off the internet. I mean, let her do her. Let him focus on what he's doing. As long as she's happy where she is, and as long as he's happy where he is, and those kids are getting the foundation, even though the foundation was cracked because of Tia Mowry's decision. As long as the kids are good, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. So really, that's all I have to say about that. So y'all, we come to the end of this particular video. I had a good time doing this. So again, shout out to Reva TV. Follow that lady. You know, she's real good with her videos. She brings it. So if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments. Let me know what your overall thoughts on this one is. You know, my thoughts, you know, Reva's thoughts, the Tia Mowry, Cory Hardrict situation. Let me know what you think. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember, the power of the mind is valuable.